Welcome to Where Talent Meets Opportunity, a business show that provides our viewers with business strategies, tips, and information for starting, running, maintaining, and growing any small business. We have a great show planned for you today.
And welcome to Where Talent Meets Opportunity. I'm your show host, Jay McElroy, and welcome back. We're here today with Mina Saunders of Lady Saunders. Help me get this one right. Lady Saunders Construction, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, she is the owner. I keep going back and forth with the name here for her. But I tell you, she is one of these unique people that support the construction industry. And one of the first things that when I talked to her, she told me, safety first. And anybody who deals in the construction industry knows that safety has to be your #1 priority. If you contact Pepco, BGA, any of these organizations, any construction company that you deal with, it's safety first. And one of the things that I tell you that Mina had stressed with me so strongly when we met the first time is that she wants to make sure any employee that is on a work site gets home safely. And I know that there's so many consumers that are out there and business owners that are out there. You have people out in these construction sites and you sometimes don't know. They're on scaffolding, they're handling brick, they've got concrete moving, you've got all kind of 2x4s and all the equipment that they use. I was in a doctor's office one time and a gentleman had come in and he had actually been using one of their power guns for putting nails. What do you call it? A nail?
The nail gun,
right?
Yes.
And he actually got one in his eye. And so it's just unbelievable, the smallest thing that can happen. And this young lady, Miss Saunders, she has come up with so many different ways that the things that you can purchase to keep their employees safe so that they can get home to their families. And she has just taken my heart away with that because I think life is so precious. And so she has taken on it herself to be sure that she's able to get your loved one back home safely. So I'm going to talk to her about some of the things that she does in the safety realm. And even you at home, you're probably going to want to listen in because she may have some tips for you and some things that you might be able to look at that is going to help keep your family safe as well. So welcome, Miss Mina.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, Mina, I know you're nervous. Everybody that sits in that chair seems to be a tad bit nervous.
Yes.
So we're just going to start out talking about you. So tell us a little bit about Mina, and then we'll talk about your company.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm Mina Saunders. I am the owner of Lady Saunders Construction. And basically, I'm just a mom. I was a mom earlier. Okay. I'm still a mom. Okay. And I'm a person that has the interest and love for others. Okay. Sometimes my husband tells me I should have been a social worker because I'm so devoted to making sure that others have what they need. Right. And it's not always money. Sometimes it gets to that, but it's making sure people have the tools that they need to be successful.
Okay, okay. So, Lady Saunders Construction, how did you start it and when did you start it?
Well, I started in 2013. Okay. I had been a previous business owner before, and my kids were now in school all day. And that afforded me the opportunity to finish my degree. Okay. Which is in business administration with a minor in contracts. And from there, thank you.
That's unique, you know.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And from there, I went working at a construction company for a couple of years. And being an entrepreneur, you always have a different burn.
Right.
You never fit inside of a box. And I had the ability to do my work and then kind of be finished. Once I fixed the problem, I was ready to go. Right. Or train somebody else, and so that in turn where I thought I could sit on a job for years and years, I just didn't fit that model.
Right, neither did I.
Yeah, so once again, I actually did the human resources at the construction company.
Okay.
And I was always the person that was responsible for watching what they call the mod rate. That's kind of your safety rate.
Right.
It tells how good and effective your safety program is on your job site. So the higher that rate climbs, that lets the client know via, when I say client, I mean the person is actually interested in hiring you for your service.
Right, right.
It lets the client know how safe and effective your program is for your employees.
Okay.
So we had some issues, and the mod rate was trending, and I thought that I could provide value by giving some other alternatives as far as safety.
Okay.
Getting just some basic things to keep the employees safe, and that was kind of discounted. But I had gained some information at that point that I thought would be useful, not just for this company, for others as well. And then I used that knowledge for myself.
Okay.
And I started inquiring what would be the best role to take to make sure that this happens not just here, but at other companies as well.
Okay.
And from there, Lady Saunders Construction was born.
Wow.
And we began with construction safety, and it was very minor, and I ended up getting back out of the corporate workplace and back at home and working for myself again.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about some of the safety apparatuses that you have.
We have everything to keep the individual and the site safe.
Okay.
The individual on the site is going to use what they call personal protective equipment. That is your basics, your hard hats, your vests. It can be the THEBSC suits to protect from chemicals. You have
Now, is
hand
this the
protection.
white suit that
Yes,
they put on?
that's the
Okay,
white suit.
Okay.
And it could be the lime green or the orange vest. You have hard hats.
Now, let me tell you this. I when I had to go out and buy my first hard hat, I thought it was interesting because first I didn't know where to go. That was my first problem. And then somebody goes, oh, they have them at Home Depot. And so when I go into Home Depot, they have all of these hard hats, right? And they're all different. So when I went to get the hard hat, I said, okay, well, this one is this much money, and this one is this much money, and this one is this much money. But what is the difference? And I didn't understand the difference. And so I know that we could have business owners out there right now that are looking to purchase something, and there could be even a homeowner that's looking to purchase. Can you elaborate for us a little maybe on the differences?
Well, I learned this from being in the industry and actually traveling to one of my manufacturer's plants where they actually did the actual production of the goods. There's various protection depending on what industry you're in.
Okay.
So instead of, let's just say you mentioned hard hats. So I'm thinking head protection.
Exactly.
Well, they have a baseball style cap, head protection.
Really?
Yes, and it actually fits under something like a baseball cap.
Okay.
Then you have like protection for journeymen and linemen. That's a little bit more. We have a brim around that.
Okay.
And then there's regular hard hats. There's just a small brim in the front.
Okay.
And it all depends on what you're being protected from. If you're an electrician that's going up a line or up a tower, you're going to need more protection than somebody that's going to be underneath a table that may encounter a bump on the head.
Right.
So the hard hat, that's the best way I can tell you. It depends on your protection. Now, there's a standard that, a safety standard that hard hats are regulated under.
Okay.
And they actually, when they changed the standard, they changed the rating.
Okay.
And that, once again, depends on what particular industry you're in, and that's going to dictate what kind of protection you need.
Okay. Okay.
But I wouldn't say I would start with the cheapest.
Okay.
I would say...
No, I didn't get the cheapest.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it and I was like, I don't think I want this.
Yeah.
I didn't get the cheapest one.
Yeah, I don't ever start at the cheapest. I kind of like to start in the middle and kind of go, all right, if I go to the left, yes, that's cheaper, but what am I losing?
Right.
And if I go to the right, how much value is my life to me.
Right.
You know, not because it's more expensive, because the coverage is what I'm looking at.
Okay. Let's look at the eye protection. I just talked to you a little bit about, or mentioned a gentleman that actually ended up with a nail in his eye, right? A lot of us landscape. We're outside in our yards, we're blowing, we're weed whacking, we're doing all kind of stuff. And there are things that happen on the construction site as well. So am I making a bad assumption that maybe the eye protection is the same, or is it different like the hard hat?
You have different levels of eye protection as well. You have your basic safety glasses,
Okay.
and then you also have safety glasses with side shields.
So
and
that's
then,
the little, okay.
yeah, the shields on the side.
Okay.
And then you also have goggles.
Okay.
And you have face shields, which connect to your hard hats.
Okay.
So once again, depending on the industry that you're going to be in, a welder they may want a little bit more protection than someone that's landscaping.
Okay.
And then someone that's dealing with debris falling, like your painters or, you know, your sheetrock or your landscape, your guys that's hanging up your drywall, they may want a little bit different protection than your homeowner as well.
Okay.
So with things moving parts means a different protection.
Okay.
And you want something that would encompass the whole eye. If you're working in the yard, you want something you could pop on and pop off. You want, just in case dust blows, you just want to keep your eye safe. But if you're hanging sheetrock and you have the potential of mud or drywall or a clog of something coming down from above,
I had that to happen.
yeah, you may want to
Yeah.
invest in something that one is going to stay on your eyes.
Right.
And let's just be realistic. If you're working with a set of glasses that could easily be removed,
Okay.
that's not going to be ideal for that particular
Yeah,
application.
I've had a couple of accidents, Mina. I ended up with drywall mud in my face and in my eye. I didn't have any protection on. Although I had my glasses, I thought, okay, you got your glasses on, you're pretty much protected. But I found out quickly that you really do need to get something more than your glasses. And I think
Yes.
a lot of people think, oh, I've got my glasses on, my eyes are protected. And they're absolutely not, because all you have to do is just turn your head slightly. I mean, if you notice, there's only protection really for the front eye. It's nothing on the side. And
Correct.
so I thank you for sharing those tips with us. And I know we're halfway through the show, so I'm going to have to put you on pause for a second. Okay. We're going to come right back with Mina Saunders of Lady Saunders Construction. This name is just, I keep forgetting it. So Lady Saunders Construction, she is the owner, and she's going to come back with some additional safety tips as well as some more information on safety first.
Thank you for joining us on Where Talent Meets Opportunity. We look forward to taking your business to the next level and increasing your business bottom line in days, not months or even years. Until our next show.
And welcome back to Where Talent Meets Opportunity. Once again, I'm your show host, Jay McElroy, and we're back with Mina Saunders of Lady Saunders Construction. And I tell you, Mina, you have provided some extremely good tips and talked about the different types of protection that we need both as construction workers as well as homeowner. And so right now we're in a seasonal transition, and I know that you can wear one thing in the summer versus something else in the winter. So can you talk to us a little bit about that transition?
Yes. In the summer, we tend to want to have less clothing on, but our workers still need to have what we call high visibility. Those are your products that look like they have a strip of maybe a shiny reflective material. You have more traffic in the summer. So what I've seen as far as the trend, high visibility has changed. At one point it was just vests. Now I'm seeing that people want more visibility with more traffic. And we also have people that are distracted. So at least if you see...
Would you say the
Yeah.
cell phone is the distraction?
When you have crews working on the road, you want to make sure that even if they see a flicker of yellow or a flicker of orange, that they know it's a moving part or a person. And with that in mind, we want to make sure that we transition properly between seasons, because it's easy to get distracted and not properly have everything you need, because of course in the summer we're taking things off.
Right.
So we want to, I want to stress that the vests are still important, and no PPE is good if it's setting on the side of the work site. So we want to go for comfort as well.
Okay.
When we look at our vests and our reflective pieces, they have them now for the summer versus the winter.
Right.
The summer things are going to be your mesh vests. They even have the pants, and they also provide the same level of visibility that the jackets provide.
Okay.
They also have T-shirts now. So some of the guys don't want to wear a shirt and a vest. Well, we also have T-shirts that enable you to have high visibility as well.
Okay.
And we have hand protection now that also gives that visibility to your employees on the site, which is ultimately what we want.
Okay. Now, I'm going to sneak one in on you. Respirators.
Okay. Respirators provide the clean air. When we're in confined spaces, we have our employees that are digging trenches. We have them that's painting. Where we have any type of restriction of air, we want to provide a level of protection, because that is one thing. Once your lungs get damaged, it's not repairable.
Yeah, you have problems.
Yes,
Forever.
yes. So the respirators, and they have the kind that bring in air. We have just your basic ones that kind of keep dust out. You have ones that are actually look like they're attached to a backpack, and they actually provide air, your pappers, clean filtered air, and that's a level of protection based on your application. If you're cleaning out a water tank, that means your air is restricted. You're going to need a line, not just to provide clean air, but also keep some of those chemicals out of your respiratory system.
Okay. Now, we're going to move down the body a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about those hands.
Hand protection is ultimately, I think, the one part of my job that I love.
Okay.
And I think it's because we do so much with our hands, and it's a goal of mine to make sure people have the proper hand protection. On occasion, I have went to businesses and just did a general audit, and I always ask about problems that they're having. I can say 50% are.
Wow, that's pretty high.
That's high. 50% of the issues that happen are hand injuries.
Wow.
And it's not that they're not, because employers think that they're doing their employees a due diligence by just providing a glove. And they are, but you have to make sure that the protection is adequate.
Okay.
So being on a job site where you're having nails hammered and you have sharp pieces that you're assembling, you don't want to use a cotton or yarn glove, because we're talking high risk for
Right,
one.
that's going to cut right through.
Right, and then we're talking about probably giving these employees gloves 2 or 3 times a day because they're going to rip. So we now have better hand protection that encompasses more of what the employee is actually engaging in. Being is that they may need knuckle protection, because they're moving things. If they're in a steel yard, you're going to use a different glove than if you're sewing. But you still need some level of protection. So I think that is where my heart is, really, with the hand protection. I just love to sell the gloves. I like showing them. And ultimately, when I get the gloves in, I'm always looking to see what gloves match with what hard hat. I want to make a fashion statement on the.
Okay, so I thought most of them were darker colors. So you're saying they have all kind of colors now?
No, you can get pink, you can get lime green, you can get them with leather, and then they also have different cut levels, which is something I find myself educating business owners on.
Okay.
Because all gloves have a rating. If they don't have a rating,
Now, I didn't know they had ratings. So
well, they do.
okay, so
Usually,
talk to me a little bit about the ratings, because I mean, I know I go to Home Depot, I pick up some gloves, but I don't ever remember seeing a rating.
usually on when you purchase a pair of industrial gloves, on the back of the hand there will be something indicating the name of the glove, and you'll see a little symbol on there. The glove industry is also rated
Okay.
by ASTM, and ANSI kind of regulate the safety industry.
Okay.
So they put out these standards, and they test the gloves to see under what pressure do they rip, tear, or we're having injuries. So
Honestly,
injuries
I did not
go.
know this.
Yeah,
Wow.
injuries go from, well, the rating on the gloves go from 1 to like cut level 5 or 6 now.
Okay.
So cut level 1 is your low level protection. That would be moving boxes. It's four ratings. They have cut, puncture, tear, and abrasion.
Okay.
That's how the gloves are tested.
Okay.
And not particularly in that order the numbers are, but you'll see a little number, and it'll indicate 1 means that's lowest level, and 5 right now meaning that's the highest level of protection.
Right.
So when you look at the rating, that will help you make the choice on what protection do I need.
Okay.
Of course, if I'm moving boxes, I just want my hands protected and I want a good grip.
Right.
But if I'm working at the steel mill, I'm going to want cut level 5 because I want that glove more than just today. And I want a padding on the knuckle,
I know that's right.
you know, and a cut level 5 to make sure that the glove is not easily penetrated.
Right. Now, how about sizings? I mean, I know I've seen the small, medium, large. How do they actually run, especially when you get into the types of construction gloves?
Well, the gloves, they do run, and they actually have extra small too.
Oh, okay.
Some of the companies that have women, we've had to explore some different avenues because women have smaller hands.
Right.
So that's been also a specialty because, of course, I'm a woman. I want to make sure that we're protected.
Right.
But the sizing has been inadequate as well, which also plays a part in how well that glove performs. So they have a sizing chart.
Okay.
And you kind of just place your hand on, kind of like shoes.
Okay.
And that way you see if you fit in between this level and this level, you're a 1, or a size small or large, depending on, the glove manufacturer. But that's their size exactly like your feet.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Since you said feet, let's jump to the feet.
Okay. We do provide some protection for the feet. I do more of the things like concrete boots, and they look more like a rubber boot.
Okay.
They kind of just go over top of your shoes to provide that protection when you're working in kind of swampy and mushy. So we do some environmental protection as well,
Okay.
which would encompass the boot. So I didn't know this until I got into the industry that landscaping and lawn care companies use that protection. So that was different. I'm like, well, why would they need a boot? Well, if you're cleaning out a swamp,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
if you're cleaning out a swamp and you're making certain that you stay dry, they have the protection that goes all the way up to the waist. And then once it hits the waist, they have another jacket that they put on. So a lot of things I learned while being in the industry, and it's
Right.
afforded great opportunities.
Yeah. When you say swamp, I guess the first house that I built, it was actually on top of water. So the water was coming up out of the ground, and it was so saturated, I had to get some boots to walk around in my yard. It was that much water.
Wow.
So, I mean, I understand, I know that's two different things, but when you said swamp, it just brought back those memories of having to redo the lawn and dig trenches out to trench the water to the street. I was able to, it's actually sitting on a spring, so I was actually able to find the area of where the spring was and get the water funneled out as best as I could. Of course, there was still water, but
Right.
it's not as much water. So,
Okay.
All right, so we only got about 2 minutes, Mina, so you want to wrap up with something else in safety?
Well, I'd just like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. And I would like for our viewers to know that I am available to come in and provide some nice material. And one thing I like to do for potential clients is I don't like for them to purchase quantities without trying it.
Right.
So before I allow you to buy 200 or 2,000
Right.
of something that you may like, I like to provide samples.
Right.
And those samples give you the opportunity to try it out. And you may think I'm a small
Right.
and actually be a medium.
Right, right, right.
So that's always a good starting point to let people see, is this really what I want? And that's really been a good point for my business and staying sustainable,
Okay.
is meeting my clients' needs.
Right, right.
And I also like when I come on a site to know what's happening. I don't just want to bring safety stuff.
Right,
I want to
right, right.
solve your problems.
Right, right.
I want to be your solution.
Right.
So with that in mind, thank you once again for having me.
Oh, Mina, we are so glad that you came on board. You are the only person that we've had on board to talk about construction supplies. And we were able, as you know, to apply it to construction sites, but also give tips when it came to consumers, and that's important. So I'm going to say that's just about a wrap for us today. We're so happy that Miss Mina was able to come and to share. She will have her information at the end of the show, so you would actually be able to contact her, and that's going to be in many ways. So she'll actually have her phone number out there, her website, and all the other stuff that you're going to need to actually reach out to her. So if you are concerned about safety, even when you're working in your yard, or if you have a project that you're working on with some organization, you're going to want to reach out to this young lady and just find out what is it that you're going to need, and make sure that you can return your employees home safely, and that if you're working in your own yard, that you can be able to eat dinner at the end of the day. And so we're so appreciative, Mina, once again for you being here with us, and we will be talking to you again soon.
Thank you once again for having me.
Thank you. All right. We look forward to seeing you at our next show.
Thank you for joining us on Where Talent Meets Opportunity. We look forward to taking your business to the next level and increasing your business bottom line in days, not months or even years. Until our next show.